Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Community. Maria and I are here. This is like our third episode of the day. We did a podcast, then we also did, or two podcasts, then we also did our sponsorship video for High Vibe Women. And then we went to a content studio that literally was doing so much construction. So we're back here at our co-working space, back in action, and want to talk about something so important, which is how to find the right community.
So funny. I went from just going ghost on your podcast for a while, and now I'm back with a 3-banger today.
Luckily, they won't be released back to back, so it's fine.
All right.
Yeah.
So, and the listeners' eyes have been here all along.
Yes. I know. It's been really good with the podcast because we do, batch record so we can keep on top of it and stuff like that. But then it's like we also have so many timely things that happen. So then every once in a while, an episode will go out and I'm like, oh, we recorded that 5 months ago, but still relevant. So anyway, let's chat about how to find the right community, because this is something that's come up as a question for us, definitely in our community. For those of you who don't know, we have the High Vibe Women online community, where we've got almost 100 members at this point. And, this is something that comes up in the Q&A pretty often. How do you find what community to be in, what rooms to be in, what network to be in? And because there's just so much stuff out there.
So much stuff. And as I'm sure you guys know, as listeners of the podcast, this is how we built our business.
Yeah.
Through community and masterminds, networking, and really just getting out there, meeting people, which leads to obviously clients, referrals, relationships, a great network, and so many other things that really help us both personally and professionally. Mm-hmm. It's been a huge part of our success. I would actually put most of our success on our community. And so, people ask us all the time, how do you choose the right one? Mm-hmm. And we love ours, of course. Yeah, we ended up creating one, which we'll touch on at the end. But in the early stages of the Social Snippet, we actually joined quite a few different communities. Mm-hmm. And some we really, really loved so much and benefited from. Some we were like, oh, this maybe isn't our room. And today, I think it's going to be fun to dive into how to make that choice. Yeah. But I will say, my first tip is sometimes you gotta just try it.
Yeah, totally. And there's been communities that have been surprising for us, mm-hmm. Where we've joined, often it's a bit of an intuitive pull from one of us where we go and it's okay, I really feel I should be there, or I have FOMO about that. But there are communities I see I have no interest in, where I'm oh, I see that and it's not for me.
Totally. And then, you need to trust that.
Yeah. And then and even if other people, recently there was a mastermind that came up and a bunch of people were in it and they were you should join. And I really sat with it. And then I was oh no, it's actually not a fit for me. I'm good to know that I just don't want to, right? Mm-hmm. Rather than the stress of being I should because other people do or whatever. So yeah, I think that's an interesting piece is really trusting that intuition of you're going to want to feel called towards whatever it is that you're doing.
Yeah, and I think it's easy to get sucked into that because when we see oh, this person joined this community and they got so many great results from it, or that changed their life, and you may want those same results, but you may not be drawn to that community, whether it be the messaging or what you're seeing in the content.
Or the leader.
Yeah, exactly, right? Mm-hmm. So what's going to work for somebody else isn't necessarily going to work for you. So trusting your intuition is really important on that. And just looking at the stuff and seeing if it resonates with you, seeing if the messaging, how, like you said, the founder, how they live their life, how they operate in their business, do their values align with you? Are they your kind of person? Do you respect them? Do you want a life like them? I think these are all really important questions to consider when you're thinking of joining a community, because the leader and the founder of the community does have so much influence over what happens there. So in my mind, I think that's one of the top things to consider is, do you respect that person? Do you want a life like theirs?
Yeah, we've had that before, right? Where we've gone to masterminds. So we're both kind of attracted to different people and different lifestyles ultimately. So it's you want a definitely slower pace of life than I do, right? And so you'll be oh, I love this person because they're working 20 hours a week and they cold plunge and they go to the sauna and they sometimes talk to the dead, that's no.
You're not wrong.
Yeah. Well, me, I'm oh, that person's really in their masculine energy and they're in the scale and they're doing this, but they have a family and they're hyper present with their family, but they're also doing the thing and they have doing relationships, so it's I think ultimately the best part is we get to come together on that stuff. But often we're now in a situation where we do different rooms.
Totally.
but before we didn't. We used to run everything together.
Yeah, we did.
And then we were kind of like, which actually was really nice because we have a lot of the same foundational friends. Like our OG, like, you know, Jeanette and Steve and Allie, Marina, like all those, Stacy, like all those people are like kind of our OGs.
Yeah.
But now it's like really great because it's like we meet different people, we bring different people into each other's room. Like I got to know Carly and I kind of brought Carly into you, and like you've been close to Carly, and like, yeah, you get to know different people at different spaces.
Yeah, and I think another important piece of that is leaning into what you actually want for your life and business, right? Like, do you want to like scale really big and make a ton of money and be in the grind, or do you want like a slower pace, maybe slower growth, but like less work? Like, what do you actually want at the core of it, and not based on like what other people are telling you you should want, what society says you should want, but what do you actually want for your life? And then using those kind of like core values to direct where you're gonna invest your time and energy in a community. And I actually think on the other side of the coin of the whole like, don't just trust a community because somebody said it was good. The other side of that is also like, I think, take recommendations from people that say communities are good. Like, it is a bit tough if you're just going to join a community blind. You don't know anyone that's ever been a part of it or anyone that's had good results from it. You're kind of taking more of a gamble. Whereas a community we joined, Founders Club, like we knew many people who were like, oh, I had this great experience with Founders Club. And now like we're really, I feel like we're referral monsters for Founders Club and creating this whole network, and everybody's having a great experience. But when you can get that like firsthand testimonial from someone you trust, it can also help just verify that it is a good use of time and money.
Yeah, because also I think too, if you have people who you really value their experience with stuff, like I have people who are in my circle that I'm like, oh, they go to these things and they've had good experiences and they work a room like I work a room, right? Or they'll put in the effort that I put in. Like I think about like Megan Hool, for example. Meg and I are pretty good friends, and if there's something going on in the US and she's not a part of it, I'm kind of like, hey, do you know about this? And she'll do the same, and we're able to like kind of find a middle ground. Or Leah Garvin. But you know, you don't need to be in everything. And I think that's also the hard part is like when you're not discerning about where you should be, you end up joining like so many things. And we've had people leave our community too, where they're like, I'm in 80 memberships, like, and I need to like, you know, nothing against you guys, but I can't go to 8 hours of calls a day for my membership. You actually have to do some work. So I would say like finding a few communities that you could really pour into is really the important thing. Is like, where can you show up well, show up as yourself, and it like serves you. Like even Founders Club, like Founders Club's a great one for us because the Slack community is really active, and right now we're like in a more online season, but like we try to make it to the in-person. It's in Toronto, it's a bit far for us, but we make the most of the Slack. But it's like, I'm not going to join a community that's based out of Calgary that I can never go to anything, right? So you want to make sure you're in the right spots.
Yeah, and I think like more is not always better, because it can be tempting to be like, oh, there's so many great communities and I want to join these 5 or these 3 or whatever that is, and then you don't show up well in any of them.
Yeah.
In my mind, if you don't have capacity to join 3 or join 5, it's actually better to just join 1 and like give that one your all and make connections with those people and network and use the community, because we've all, well, maybe not all of us, I have definitely been in communities where I've just like never one time checked the Slack, never one time been to any event, and it's like I just basically flush my money down the toilet because I do not have the capacity to show up in that community. So before you join a community, looking at what the requirements are of the community and how much you can actually give to that, and do you have capacity to even do that?
Yeah, it's funny because even like it's also about life season too. Like there's seasons where like even like Entrepreneurs is such a great example, where early on I was super active at Entrepreneurs and I was doing connection calls all the time. I don't log in there as much anymore because I just don't have as much capacity. Or I was in the Elite Mastermind, Kristina and Maria's mastermind. I got pregnant halfway through it. I was dead. I didn't do anything with it for the other half, right? And now I'm in a season where I'm dead again because I have a newborn. And, not newborn, he's 8 months old. But it's different, right? Like I don't have the capacity to travel as much as I did before. So it's really just figuring out like what season of life you're in and leaning into that. But yeah, no, I don't think more is always better. And sometimes actually being an OG in a community and being deep in the community is the better thing. Me and Eleanor Beaton talk about this when she was on my podcast. I'll make sure to link this in the show notes, but it's like finding 2 communities and being the OG, the go-to, the person that everyone like knows, and you can make referrals for. Like I love that there's a few communities where someone says the word podcast, immediately like someone will tag us in it, you know, like some Founders Clubs like that. It's such a gift, right? So really just, I think finding those communities, it can be a bit tricky sometimes, but really just finding like where can you go in deep and add a ton of value.
Yeah. And then I also think like doing some intention setting or reflecting before you choose a community on what you're actually looking for from it. So are you there for like tactical learnings? Are those tactical learnings like in a specific area? Are you there for the network and the community? Do you want to build relationships with certain people? Like reflecting on that ahead of time can be really helpful, because some communities are really built around networking and masterminding and talking to your peers and working with each other. Some are really built around like learning from the founder of the community, like that specific leader. And then some are more around like guest speakers and bringing in guests on like a specific topic. So maybe it's like profitability, maybe it's scaling, like whatever it is, like a specific thing. So I think that can also help you navigate where you should be, setting that intention ahead of time, and then finding a community that meets that solution.
Yeah. I was gonna say one last thing about this. I know we're gonna switch gears a little, but like the other thing is like it's also okay to outgrow a community. Like once you're in one, I know I really struggle with this because I'm like such a relationship girly that like if I'm like in with the leader of the community, I'm like I can't leave. Like I'm in, you know. But it's also okay when you're like in a community and you're kind of like I've done my time, and we felt that with Fast Foundations. Like we did it. We did 3 rounds of it, I think, and then I ended up coaching the round after it. But we were both like complete.
Yeah.
You know, it felt good. If they had run another one that we had to pay for, we probably wouldn't have done it. We got what we needed. We had our friends. Like it was exactly, it was amazing. It was exactly what we needed. And so I think just knowing that, like, okay, I'm good there.
Yeah, and it's like that line we always say, like, what got you here won't get you there. And at some point that the tides start to change, right?
Yeah.
So like what you get from one community gets you somewhere, and then in the next stage you're gonna need something different. So it's totally okay to move on.
Yeah, love that. Okay, so the other thing is if someone comes to us or they're listening to this right now and maybe they're in a season where you know, they haven't found a lot of community, or maybe they don't love the community. I don't know if you've joined the High Vibe Women online community. It's pretty good. highvibewomen.ca/community. Little ad. But if, you know, and actually we're not for everyone either.
No, we're definitely not.
Like we've had people come to the events where we're like, oh, we're not a fit for you, and that's okay. And then we had the most beautiful testimonials at our retreat. Like it was absolutely incredible. So you know, the sand. So what would you say to someone who maybe hasn't found their own community and they're like kind of thinking about starting one, or like, yeah, they don't know really like what to do or how to move the needle on that?
Yeah, I think if you've tried a few things and looked at a few things and nothing's really resonating and speaking to what you want and need from a community, like start your own.
Yeah.
For sure. And my advice on starting your own would just be start small.
Yes,
Do
totally.
not like build something in the dark and come up with this like whole master plan of this like thing you're gonna create and then like come to, you know, the world with it. Like build it with your community, with your people. And we always joke about like have I been starting by accident, but I mean, to a degree it was by accident, but we were also going to all of these amazing events in the States. And the reason we started it is because we didn't find anything like that here at the time. There's actually been quite a few more events.
No, oh my gosh.
then.
Honestly, like at first the way we would kind of like market High Vibe Women is like nothing else really going on here. And now like it feels like there's too much now going on here, which I like love. I actually love it. And I don't think we're the OGs of events by any means. I think we were like early post-COVID starters. But now we're like, we can't shake the events. Like it's like we go to things all the time now in Canada. So thank you so much everybody for coming along this journey with us of running events.
Yeah, it's happening.
Yeah.
And I think that's why it's more important than ever that for event leaders to lean into their uniqueness and their authenticity. And like we say, like we're not for everybody. And that's why we try to be as authentic and real as we can be so that you guys can decide if we're for you or not. And I think if you're going to start your own community, you really have to lean into that as well. So the things that make you weird or quirky or vulnerable, like lean into that, because people really need to be able to see you so they can decide if you're for them.
Yeah.
But for us, we just really built it grassroots with our community. So of course we're like leading it with intention and with what we wanted to see from the community, but also kind of building it hand in hand with them, like listening to them, listening to even in the events themselves, like what is it that's actually moving the needle for them? What do they love about it? And it's funny because we're kind of a few years into this High Vibe Women journey and like nothing's changed. I'm still like, you're like ears on the ground, listening to our community members, even in the online community. I was saying to my mom yesterday, we do 4 different calls every month or 3 or 4, but like there's a call every week. And the order of which I thought the people would rank the like what calls they liked the most was actually totally reversed of what they actually liked, right? So, okay, heard. And now we're making changes based on what they're saying. But I think as the leader of a community, it can't just be like a dictatorship
No.
where you're just like, here's what happens, guys, and like it or not, like, you know, you're either in or you're out. It's like you have to build it with the people who are there in the community with you.
Absolutely. Can't say that better. Like, it's one of those things we've seen happen so many times where people have like launched, not even communities, courses, programs, websites, and they don't talk to anybody. And then they're like, well, why won't people buy them? And we're like, like, you didn't ask anybody, you know what I mean? So I think that's really, really important, is that, you know, you're having those conversations and really just like looking at the needs of what people are saying. Like, you know, when we were at our retreat a few weeks ago, one of the women was like, you know what, I actually don't think I'm going to be coming to the 200-person event anymore. And this was someone she's been at everything. And I was like, gasp. And she was like, they're a bit big for me. But like, I'd love it if you guys did like an 80-person event, which is already a feeling we were having of like, do we do some smaller things that are a little bigger than 20, but you know, somewhere in that in between, right? So always looking at what can kind of come up for people. And yeah, I think, you know, starting small, and don't invest a ton of capital into it. That's another piece too, is that like, you know, we've seen people, you know, rent out a stadium and like do the shit. Like we've seen it go both ways, like where people have had a lot of success and otherwise. But I think it's like, host a free meetup. Like our dinner that we hosted, like covered its costs. Like it was really just a way for us to like, you know, have a great conversation. And then it's grown since then. We've probably, I think, only lost money ever like on maybe one event, but like, and that was a huge learning, and it wasn't a ton of money, but it was like, okay, great. Like we don't like these things. Also, we learn from like the feedback we get. Like, you know, even every time we try to run a weekday event, you guys don't want to come to it. You guys don't want to make candles with us. You guys don't want to do anything but eat with us. It's crazy. We're like, you don't want to come outside? No. You guys just want to eat snacks with us, and we're here for that.
Nobody wants to make a candle with us, very sadly. I tried twice.
But then we're not going to try to run a candle making workshop every week. Like, you know, so I think really just learning from, you know, what your community is saying, but start small. Start with little free meetups. Start with online meetups. Do discoveries with people. Ask people, do market research. Ask people what they like, what they don't like about communities, what works for them. And then also lean into what you're good at, right? Like even for us, there was noise for us around, are there too many online communities? And then we were like, no. We want to keep people connected between our events. We love bringing in new women. We love to serve these women. Let's keep going.
Yeah, I love the like don't invest too much in it in the beginning too, because I think as a founder of a community, you have to be really careful with going into it being like, I need this to make money.
Yes.
Because that changes the tone of everything, and members sense that, and it just starts everything off on a weird vibe.
Yeah.
And communities are about vibes, okay? Let us tell you.
It's about vibes.
High vibes.
Yeah. We know.
And so I think as a founder, it's really important to not put that financial pressure on it from the beginning, and to also remove your own ego from it. And remember, it's not like the you show.
Yeah.
And to come in from a place of service for your members. It really needs to be about them and giving them the best experience and making it the most valuable for them. And it can't be all about you.
Love that. Yeah, because it can be really hard to not put the ego into it, right? And Maria and I think, have done a lot of self-work around, like, this is really not about us. Like, this is about everyone else. We can't take things too personally. We need to, like, because it comes both ways, right? When you make it about you, you make it about you.
Yeah.
And so I think, like, really it's about the community. It's about each other, and see what they like, see what they don't like. Don't be too attached to things. Because you're right. Because even, like, when we did our poll of what people liked, we added the network. You were pretty reluctant on the networking calls. Like, you were kind of like, will those work? Will people like them? And we were like, let's, like, try it. They're beloved.
That is their favorite call.
People love the networking call, and they like the Q&A. That's, I think, number two. And then we thought the guest speakers would be a banger, which they have been. We've had amazing guest speakers, but that's actually not the thing that people like the most, because they love actually connecting with each other. So noted, right? Like, yeah.
Yeah, and you have to be open-minded to where your members are going to see value. Like, the reason I was resistant to networking calls is I was like, are people going to find this valuable? We're charging them to, like, open this Zoom room and put them into breakout groups?
Yes.
Like, but that is their favorite thing. And it's because the value is the people in the room.
And we facilitate it. We curate those people.
Yes, exactly. We attract them. We create the space for them. We set the vibe of what the networking is going to be about. And that is, like, they get the most value from that. So we have to listen to that, right? And, like, honor that. And so now we're implementing more networking calls. We're helping them do more networking in the circle community. But I think that's why you always need to be listening to your members and not only doing what you want.
Yeah.
I think from a founder, you need to lead in terms of your own, like, realness and vulnerability and, like, morals and ethics and what you stand for and that kind of stuff. But when it comes to what services you're providing in your community, I feel like you really need to, like have your ear on the ground and listen to what your members are saying.
Yeah, love that. Any last thoughts on what to do if someone wants to start their own community? We can do more on these as well, like if you guys want. Like, so feel free to ask us questions, because for us, it's like community building is so natural. Like it's so natural into what we do that, like, you know, we're like, we also do everything messy, and we know that that's also a thing that people don't like and lean into, is like they want things to be really perfect, but we are messy girls.
Well, I was gonna say, like, try stuff.
Yeah. We've tried stuff that's failed.
And all kinds of stuff. And like even now, like we canceled an event like last month because we didn't sell enough tickets to it.
Yeah.
Because it was a brand new idea that we've never tried before, that we personally thought was going to be like a raving success, and people didn't want to come to it, and that's fine. It's information. You have to become okay with failure, and not even okay with it. You need to actually like want it, because it teaches you, it gives you more information, it helps you learn, grow, and expand. So not only like try new things, but also be talking to your audience about things you want to try and floating it out to them and getting innovative, because it's just such a wealth of information, helps you grow and helps you like stay in tune with what your audience wants.
Love that. Okay, yeah, let us know what you guys think about this, what resonates, what you'd want to try. Yeah, we're just so excited. We love building community, but we also know it's hard to find great communities. And so hopefully you find stuff with us, but also keep on looking for the things that light you up and feel good for you, because there's communities that Maria's a part of that aren't for me, and like vice versa. And you always, even like people who we both love, like are running communities that we're both not in, you know? So really just about finding kind of the right space. So let us know what comes up for you, what communities you love, and can't wait to hear your feedback.
See you next time.